Next little bit, we are moving on to logarithms. Now, some of you may have seen bits of these before, you may have used them. For some of you, this will be completely new content altogether. Okay, so we know the inverse of loads of maths operations already. Easy example, opposite of adding 2 is subtracting 2. We also have one for an exponential function. So if we think about timesing by 3, the opposite is obviously going to be to divide by 3. Opposite of adding will be subtracting. Opposite of squaring is square rooting. Opposite of doing to the power of 5 is the fifth root. Now, we've got our exponential here. Okay, we've got our power. So we've got 3 to the power of x is 81. Okay, and we can do an opposite. And the opposite, the inverse of exponentials, is logarithms. Okay, so that's the first really important thing. Okay, so logarithms exist in order to provide an inverse of exponentials. Okay, so they work hand in hand, same as times and divide do. They are the opposites, they will undo each other. Okay, so we can interchange between these two forms to help find missing parts. Okay, so log base a of n, okay, is equivalent to a to the power of x equals n. Okay, they work exactly the same way, and we use the different versions depending on what's missing. Okay, so the log function outputs the missing power. So 3 squared equals 9. Log base 3 of 9 is 2. Okay, so all it does is if we're missing something, so say if you're missing your power, you're going to use the log form. If you're missing your final answer, you might use the exponential form. Okay, now there's two ways of interchanging between them. Okay, so we've got one that's a missing power. So first, the base of the log must match the base of the exponential. So for example, for this one, I've got a base of 2. Okay, therefore, I must have a base exponential of 2 as well. So what this is asking is log base 2 of 8 is 3. So this is asking 2 to the power of what gives me 8. Okay, and I know 2 to the power of 3 will give me 8. So to write it into the other form, 2 cubed is 8. Okay, so it's just thinking about what the power is to get the answer I'm looking for. The second way, which is the way that I will tend to use, okay, is balancing. Now you should have used balancing since you were first introduced into solving equations in Key Stage 3. Okay, this works in exactly the same way. So if we look at the bottom, log 2 of 8 equals 3. Okay, so to find out what my answer is, I 2 to the power of both sides, because that undoes my log 2. They're the opposites of each other. Okay, 2 to the power and log 2 are the opposites. So I get 8 equals 2 cubed. So it's all about balancing. Does not matter which one you use, guys. Okay, find which one you prefer and work your way through. So, some examples. Log base 5 of 25 is the same as saying 5 to the power of what gives you 25. So we have 2. Okay. Log base 3 of 81 is saying 3 to the power of what gives me 81, which will be 4. Log 2 of 32 means 2 to the power of something to give me 32. Okay, so I'll have 5. Log base 10 of 1,000 means 10 to the power of something to give me 1,000. So I'll have 3. Log base 4 of 1 means I need to do 4. It'll be 0. 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 Anything to the power of, anything to the power of 0 will be 1. Okay. Log base 4 of 4 is going to be 1. So when we match, obviously, the base and our value, which it has done here, we're always going to get that answer as 1. Log base 2 of a half. So 2 to the power of something to give you a half. So that's got to be minus 1. Same with the fractional ones. Log base 3 of 1 over 27 is going to be minus 3, minus 4. Slightly different one, log base a of a cubed, so that's a to the power of something to give me a cubed. So that's going to have to be 3. Finally, log base 4 or minus to equal minus to equal minus to equal minus to equal minus 1, which cannot be done. Okay, we cannot log negative numbers. We can get an output that's negative, as we can see with this one here. Okay, but what we cannot do is log an actual negative number. Okay, really important. We can't log a negative, but you can get an answer that is a negative from it. Okay. Right, 3 buttons on your calculators that you need to know about. The first one, you've got the whole log, base, and then answer button you can use. Okay, that's where you can specify what base you are using. You're specifying your answer. Okay, so can you try and find that button, and can you try and put those two into your calculator to get an answer? So quickly pause and have a go at that for me. Okay, so we should have log base 3 of 7 to give you 1.77124. Log base 5 of 0.3 to give you negative 0.748. Okay. You've got the ln button. Now, ln is the natural log, or log natural. Okay, and that means log to the base e. So basically, our learn button, our log natural, is the exact opposite of e to the power of something. Okay, so those two are the opposite. You've got log natural and e. They are the opposites. Okay, they are the inverses. Now that one is really, really important that we remember that one. Okay, so it'll always inverse e to the x. We will use that lots and lots and lots later on in the chapter. Okay, so find the log natural button on your calculators. Okay, pause your video. Make sure you get those two right. Okay, so log natural 10 will give us 2.3, and log natural e will give us 1, hence it being the inverse. Okay, because if we inverse the operation, we will always get 1. Okay, so again, that's quite an important one to remember because it will come and help us. Finally, you have got a button that is just log. Okay, now the same as when we have a square root, we don't put the little 2 on. If you've just got log, that will mean log base 10. Okay, so that's exactly the same as saying log base 10. It's almost like a shortcut. Okay, so log base 10 of 100, and we'll get 2. So you can use your calculators to help. You can move your way through. What you need to remember, guys, is you need to remember how to go backwards and forwards, so interchanging between the two ways. Okay, and you've just got to work your way through. Okay. We are just trying to see how far we can get with this.
Hello.
Okay. So, if you can go on to show my homework for me, see what questions I want you to try from 14D. This is just a basic numeric practice, okay? Get used to using exponentials and logarithms.